Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be going through the solution to exercise 5.2 from the C programming language textbook by Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie. Exercise 5.2 says to write getfloat, the floating point analog of getint. What type does getfloat return as its function value? Now what I've done is I have basically copied and pasted the function getint from the previous exercise, and I've just renamed it getfloat and made it take in a float pointer. And this means that the second part of this question, where it asks us what type does getfloat return as function value, that's pretty easy to answer. It's clearly an int. Okay, so let's change this function to now handle floats. So here we check if what we have is not a number. However, now that we want to handle floats, it's possible that our number or our input can start with a decimal point. So I could input something like 0.5 to represent a half or something. So I should check this also. I need to make sure that the only way I cannot have a number is if all the previous conditions are true, including this extra condition that I don't have a decimal point. Only then am I certain that we don't have a decimal point. Okay, and now in this function, in this for loop, I'm just going to initialize what's inside of the pointer to be 0.0 just to be safe and make sure we actually have a float in there. And what can I do now? Because I know I will break out of this function if I have a float. Let's say I have 123.45. I will read the integer part 1, 2, 3, and then I will read a decimal point. And so isDigit will return false because I have a decimal point, and it will break out of here. So how can I handle that? Well, I'll do it in a similar way I handled it in the A to F function. What I'll say is I'll check, why did I break out of the previous loop? If it's because C was a decimal point, what should I do? Well, I want to skip it for the time being, and I want to go over and have C, or whatever getchit will return, have it be the decimal part of the number. So if I had 123.45 and then I call this, well, what is C going to be? It's going to be 4. It's going to be that first part after the decimal point. And then what can I do? Well, I can do the following. What I'll do is I'll remove this, and it's basically the same as before. However, there's one problem here. The problem is I'm just going to keep reading the remaining digits, and I won't account for the decimal point at all. So if my input was 123.45, all this code up here and down here will make what's inside the pointer be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with no decimal point. So it will look like I have 12,335. To handle this, I'll just create a float called power, and I'll initialize it to be 1.0. And with every successive digit, I should increase power by a factor of 10. And so here, after I multiply by the sign, I should also divide by power to compensate. And so let us compile this. Oh. What's the issue here? This should be and let's run it. And if I do 123.45, I get the same output. If I do 12.345, well, that's because I'm printing 2 decimal places here. But let's take another example. Let's say 12.99. Oh, sorry. 12.99. And there we go. Now that will be all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.